Hi guys, today I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about working at Chick-fil-A and my experience of getting hired with them. I've worked for them about 6 months now, and I just kind of wanted to share a little bit about getting the job and what to expect, what you're gonna go through when you start working at Chick-fil-A, starting with the interview process all the way through to like getting a promotion. Okay, so this is a little bit of a disclaimer. This video is going to be specific to front of house workers, so I can't really offer any advice for back of house interviews because I was interviewed for front of house. Not every Chick-fil-A is the same. Obviously, they are operated and run by different people throughout the country. Chick-fil-A's that aren't owned by my operator run a little bit differently, so my experience isn't going to be 100% of another experience and of another Chick-fil-A, so I'm just letting you know that this is just my experience and it might not be the same. It might be a little different to what you might go through, but I'm just making this to like make a connection, and I'm just trying to help if anyone is out there looking for any examples or any like experiences. I'm just trying to help you to succeed in your interview process and just trying to tell you like what to expect. So for my for me, I was looking for a job in my first semester of college, and I applied online first. And then I got an email saying, like, hey, we do open interviews every Wednesday, which is what my Chick-fil-A does. Um, so, yeah, I applied online, and I got that email saying, like, come in for an interview. I was like, oh, cool. So, got an interview. And I didn't know what to expect at first because I was like, is it going to be a group interview? Like, I'm not going to really stand out here. I'm going to try my best, you know? So I did go into the interview. They had me come in and I had to sign in on a sheet, and they were going down the list of people, and it was taking forever because there were so many people. Um, I did bring my resume as well as my food handler's card with me, which I had because I worked at another fast food job before that. Oh, another thing that I brought in addition to my resume and my food handlers, in addition to my food handlers and my resume, another thing that I brought was a copy of my class schedules, like a physical copy of it, because it's really good for them to have, so that they can just make your schedule based off that, and there's no implications and nothing like um, nothing gets so you don't get scheduled while you're in class or that. So I had it in like a little folder. I had my resume, my food handlers, and I think that was all I had with me actually. Um, yeah, so I went in and they took my file, and it was just like questions like, what do you do outside of work? Um, why do you want to work for Chick-fil-A? Just stuff like that. Pretty common stuff that are asked at interviews. I mean, nothing too scary. Like, I wasn't that nervous. Um, and then like about a week later, I had got called back for a second interview, in which I came in, and basically they just asked me a few more questions like, do you think you'd fit in? When are you available? Like all that stuff. And then she offered me the job, and she was like, hey, we think you'd make a good fit on our team. And I was like, yeah, cool. And then she took down my uniform size, and I started about a week later. Um, so a few things that they look for during the interview process at Chick-fil-A is they look for eye contact. They want you to make eye contact with them. They want you to smile and be happy and be excited to be there. They want you to speak enthusiastically and overall just be happy to be there. Like, you don't want to be like, I do not want to be here because I don't really need a job right now. They want you to be excited about working for Chick-fil-A. Like, they want you to love Chick-fil-A. They want you to be a part of Chick-fil-A, and just like, I don't know, Chick-fil-A is your life. And during that interview, Chick-fil-A is your life during that interview, basically. Oh, a big thing that I noticed is that they really like it if you talk about outside of work. So, like, instead of sitting there and being like, yeah, I'm really good at working, I'm a really good worker, blah, 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 you want to be like, this is what I do outside of work. Tell them about your church, tell them about your family, tell them about your friends, tell them about extracurricular. And then that leads into references. So you can talk about, like, oh, if you want to call my coach Henry or whatever, you can call me Coach Henry and he'll tell you how great I am, you know? They really like it when you talk about stuff outside of work. I think they might ask you questions like, do you do anything outside of work? What do you do for fun? Blah blah blah. Just like small talk. And then they're gonna ask you about your availability, especially if you get hired, especially if you get that second interview. I believe that most Chick-fil-A's require like a minimum of 2 interviews where they ask you at least like 2 questions or something like that. They do want to get to know you. They don't discriminate against anyone. They don't give up on anyone just because you have one slightly off answer. They just want to get to know you. They want to know who you are and if you'd make a good addition to the team. They just want you to treat it like a conversation. They don't want you to be nervous. They don't want to like pressure you or anything. They just want you to be you and be honest and be happy and excited to be there. Yeah, just like be yourself and don't try to cheat yourself in this. Like it's honestly not that deep. Like if you're nervous, I strongly advise you not to be nervous. I know that's kind of a cliche answer, just like, but I'm just saying, like it's honestly not that bad because they want you to be there. They're happy that you're there. They're excited when new people come in. Chick-fil-A is honestly one of the biggest hype beasts out there. Okay. All right, let's move on to talking about after you're hired. So, after you're hired, you're invited to an orientation session where basically it's just training. They show you everything, all that. They show you the Chick-fil-A app, they show you the Hot Schedules app, they show you Slack, which are all mobile things that you'll learn about if you get hired, so wouldn't worry about it too much yet until you get there. Also, they go over the handbook and the guidelines and rules you should follow at Chick-fil-A if you're working there. They go over upgraded language and, my pleasure, all that stuff. And then after that, you go to a branding session, which is where you get to learn more about your specific Chick-fil-A. You get to learn about the operators. You get to learn about your directors and your coaches and all that, and how this business system works within Chick-fil-A. And then after that, you get about a week later, maybe you get you get to start your job. It's going to be your first day. They tell you when to come in. A lot of things that they start off with new people is you get to start expoing, which is expediting food. So you learn about those table markers that they have and carrying out, dining in, all that stuff. And then dining room, tending to tables, tending to people in the dining room. Honestly, it's just stuff you'll learn more by doing instead of like me talking about it to you. Yeah, so after that you'll learn register and other stuff like IPOS, which is going out on those little iPads and taking the orders. You'll learn how to do drive-through, you learn how to do bagging, and you learn everything about the restaurant basically. Yeah, so after you learn all that stuff, you can get promoted. So the business model at Chick-fil-A is very different. It's not the same as like it's not like the same as McDonald's. Like we don't have any general managers, we don't have any GMs, or we do have shift leads though, but we don't have any general managers or any type of managers, believe that. So it goes team member, team leader, and then shift lead, and then director and operator. I think I'm missing a branch, but I'm not sure. Because I don't know exactly how it works, but I just know that it's not the same. It's not the same as McDonald's or anything like that. Because as we do believe that we're a people company that sells chicken. Yeah, so that's it. My final advice to you is that just don't be nervous about trying to get a job at Chick-fil-A. It's a lot of work, yes, but it's honestly one of the best jobs I've ever had in my life. Like, I feel like I have a little family within the company, and I don't know, I get along with everyone, and it's honestly a really fun job. It's really fun. You won't regret it.